Even before the movie came, I was just a fan of the costume.
Did it make you wish that there were retakes in cricket as well?
If there were retakes in cricket, I mean, there would be no fun.
Hi Shubman, my name is Sudhir Srinivasan and we are talking a day ahead of the IPL finals. First of all, congratulations on the 100 and taking your team into the finals. Of course, this conversation isn't about cricket. We will be speaking about you dubbing for the Indian Spider-Man character in the upcoming Spider-Man films, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I guess in short, we can say that Shubman has turned Spider-Man.
मैं लड़का नहीं हूँ। मेरा नाम है पवित्र प्रभाकर। मैं रहता हूँ दुनिया की बेस्ट स्पाइडरमैन सिटी मुंबई।
Yeah, let's get this conversation going. I read somewhere that Spider-Man is among your most favorite characters. Do you want to tell us why that is?
Because it was the first superhero movie that I watched as a kid, and something that you like as a kid has a special place in your heart, and it has special memories, and that's why Spider-Man was really special to me, because I have so many memories that are of my child.
Do you wanna tell me about any specific memories? The strongest memory that you had?
I'll tell you. Even before the movie came, I was just a fan of the costume, because there used to be posters of Spider-Man, and that iconic pose, where the golden kind of eyes, and you could see the buildings in the eyes.
Yeah.
First ever poster that came out. I was a fan of the poster. That's how I watched the movie, and I think I watched it on Set Max. It was a television premiere, and you had to look on the newspaper at what time the movie is coming. I used to, as a kid.
Were you one of those kids who had the Spider-Man costume at home?
And I went looking for it, but there was none, like not good costumes. It was like really bad costumes, which I would not wear, even as a kid. But yeah, I went looking for it. So those were my first memories of Spider-Man, and then just trying to imitate him, climbing, there's a gap between the doors, holding on to that, and climbing the walls and all sort of.
Yeah. Was it strange for you as a cricketer to be approached to dub for a film?
Yeah, I was quite surprised when my friend told me that. So he told me, do you want to dub a Spider-Man movie? And like, this is interesting. It's a very interesting concept. I was like, yeah, why not? And then got on a call with them, and then they introduced me the whole idea of, there's Spider-Man. Want you to be the voice of it.
I read somewhere that, I'm not sure about how true this is. I read somewhere that you're the first sports person in India to dub for a film.
I think a first sports person in India to lend voice to a Hollywood film. Yeah.
So these worlds rarely mix, sports and cinema. You've handled pressure of a different sort, obviously. You have been in front of lakhs and lakhs of people and performed in cricket. But did that experience come in handy when you were inside the darkness of a recording studio?
Not really. Cricket is something that I don't really feel pressure, because when you are playing, you are thinking of how I want to play in this situation, how I want to achieve a certain thing by playing in a certain manner against this particular opposition, and I've practiced for that particular situation millions of times. And this was different. Here, nobody is watching me as such, and I get to do retakes. But still, it's difficult and it's challenging. And you do it, you hear yourself, and like, this is not good. Like, it's not sounding right. It's not like when you do it and you think, oh, अच्छा है, but actually में अच्छा नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता. आपको उसी टाइम पता लग जाता है कि this is not right. And then you do it again, and then you think, yeah, like, something is not right, it's not coming. And then just to be able to do it until it's right, it's very satisfying. And then, like,
did it make you wish that there were retakes in cricket as well?
If there were retakes in cricket, I mean, there would be no fun in cricket.
Fair enough.
Why cricket is so interesting, what makes it so fun and exciting is the human part of it, the errors, the mistakes.
In this film, you're dubbing for a character, the Indian Spider-Man called Pavitr Prabhakar. I've heard many voice artists talk about how difficult it is to dub for an animated film, specifically, more than a live-action film. So, what did you have to keep in mind about this character, and did you have to modify your voice to suit, an animated character?
Yes, you do have to bit of modify it because it's an animated movie. You have to be a little more animated, little more for this one, I'd say childlike, a little bit more childlike. I have not dubbed a normal movie, so I totally know the difference. I can't say what the difference is, but I've seen animated movies and I know what they sound.
So it must have been very strange for you to start acting, no? Because when you say the word childlike, that's acting right there.
Yeah, it was a very different experience for me, and it was a very fun and challenging experience for me, and that's what I liked about it. Because you get to know a part of your personality that you didn't before, because you want to portray a certain emotion, and you're like, this is not really coming because it's a lesser part of my personality.
Did it come naturally to you? I mean, cricketers, sports persons often dabble with advertisements as well. So did that ad experience come in handy here?
Advert experience does help for sure, but you don't really, for example, rarely in an advert you'd had to show a melodramatic, emotional side of yourself.
Yeah.
So in that way it was but that does help in other things, like the dialogue delivery you have to do in advert. So those kind of things, it does help, but the range of emotions that you show while dubbing is different from an.
I saw one video clip of yours where you were posing on top of a car as a Spider-Man, and I'm not sure what that was for. But it got me thinking, should we expect to see you become an actor someday?
I don't think I am skilled enough to be an actor right now. If I think one day I am skilled enough, I'll then, but right now I don't think I have the skill set in me to be an actor.
This is a film that has multiple Spider-Man characters, of course. And, anytime you have multiple versions of the same character, often it's about those individual characters realizing that the others are not a threat to them, and those characters realizing their own individuality, their own uniqueness and purpose. For you, when did you become very confident of who you were within?
Honestly, when I played my first ever professional tournament, I was 11. I was playing in under 16, and I ended up being the highest scorer for Punjab. That's when I knew that what I'm doing is right. And then first time I ever played any kind of state level. I played under 16 state level. Went on to become India's highest scorer in that age group that year. And that's when I got to know that I'm on the right track. And we were playing with like all of these batchmates that I'm playing with right now. Arshdeep was in the same batch. Prabh Simran, Prithvi, Riyan. So all of us were in the same batch. And when I started performing that's when I got to know. That's when I got the confidence.
So coming back to the Spider-Man film and the character you dubbed for, what has the role of Spider-Man been in your life? More specifically, what quality of Spider-Man do you relate to, or do you envy?
One, not quality, but one thing that I really relate with him is the managing of different things. Like he is a teenager who's going to school, doing academics. He is also Spider-Man. He has also got a girl. So all of these different aspects, how to manage those, and right now, how I have been studying, practicing, training, traveling, shoots. So in that way, this is relatable with them, but not any specific quality.
How would you judge yourself in your ability to, what you just spoke about, in your ability to manage all these different responsibilities you have today?
I think I'm quite good at managing different things.
Yeah, I mean, given how you're handling this conversation, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about it's like now that I know I did a decent job in dubbing this, I'm like secure. Okay, I gave my best.
So I read a bit about this Indian Spider-Man character, and I could see that there's a different mythology associated with this character. There are changes done to the origins of this character. So given that we all grew up on the Hollywood version of Spider-Man and the backstory that character had, which one did you relate to better now that you've done this character as well?
Story, there is not really a proper origin story to this one, but and the once if the origin story comes and we see it, maybe it would be more relatable. But because this is a cameo for about, I think, 13 minutes or so, it's more about showing just the Indian culture rather than showing just him.
As we are nearing the end of this conversation, let me ask you hopefully something fun. If you had the choice to become Spider-Man, but the condition was that you would have to stop playing cricket, I think I know the answer to this, but what's your answer?
Definitely not.
I expected that. Fair enough. As a final question, in order to get into the mental makeup of this character, did you have to read a bit? I mean, did you have to browse some of the old comics that spoke about this character maybe?
See, I am a fan of Spider-Man. I am the consumer for this. Even if I would have not been a part of this, I would have still gone on in the theaters and watched this movie. So I didn't do any homework on this because I know I know most of it. I didn't read about Pavitr Prabhakar in general, but you get a sense of who Spider-Man is, what his personality is. You know the generic idea, and I had the generic idea. I didn't do much homework on this. I read the script, and then I just went straight to the dubbing studio.
Shubman, thank you very much for this brief conversation. I was allotted 10 minutes with you, and I think we've covered quite a few topics here.